And Mayor Alberti has the Lula camp's reaction to the news.
Well, I was just in a press conference with Lula's lawyers, and for over an hour they were clarifying what this means and answering the questions from the press. And they are saying that what the UN declaration means, it's not only a recommendation, it's not a recommendation at all, it's a request to the Brazilian government to comply with what they have said, which is that Lula da Silva must be allowed to run in the electoral campaign in October. And he must be allowed to participate in all of the electoral events. That means debates, that means rallies, but they have said that that does not mean that he will be out of jail. That just means that the government will have to find a way to allow Lula to participate in these kind of events. And what they have said is that this is one of the best hopes they have had so far to release former President Lula da Silva in time for the October elections.
Today, the UN guarantees that President Lula can run as candidate. This decision has to be followed. It's mandatory. It cannot be questioned, and the state has no room to make its own decision.
Finally, today we have the hope that justice will be served for President Lula.
Now the Itamaraty Palace, the presidential palace, has received the UN's recommendation as well, but they have said that this UN document is going to be taken as a recommendation, not as an obligation that the Brazilian government has to follow mandatorily. So we will see what happens, and we will see what's the next step for Lula's lawyers and what is the Brazilian government going to do. We will be expecting an answer or a declaration from the presidential palace again and from the courts which are dealing with Lula da Silva's case.